what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Hey guys. Somehow
I did it
we
again.
snuck in right before the intro.
Okay, I got to get faster on my mouse finger.
No, we just need to get out before.
finger.
You know, I could
start.
also make the countdown. I could make it 30 seconds because I think it's just too short. I think you want.
No, I don't think that's really the
No?
problem, Mark. I think that I didn't click the next button quickly enough.
Okay.
Anyway, hi everyone. We're back again.
Hello.
Let's see. We've got people from all over the place as usual. Tulsa, Oklahoma,
South Africa,
Brussels, Belgium, and Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, that's what I like. I like the Southern Hemisphere people.
Yes,
They always
does.
join us. It's cool. New Zealand and we even had someone on here from Paraguay and Uruguay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were like, nobody knows where this is. And these people were responding saying, yeah, you've got this and you've got that.
Well, there was a person in here that said hello from Peru.
Yep. Palm Harbor. There we go. Right down the street. Okay.
Nice.
Liverpool, Claire. Liverpool.
nice.
Germany. Oh, look at this. New Jersey, Philly.
Highlands
Oh my
Ranch, Colorado in the house.
Whenever we say this, it starts an avalanche. Brazil. You
Yeah.
can't even Gibraltar. That's the
Wow.
first time I've ever seen anybody from Gibraltar.
Wow.
There's like a tiny number
Hey.
of people in Gibraltar.
Hey, Shannon. Hey
Oh,
there.
Shaden. Hey.
We sat next to Shannon at a Depeche Mode concert in Texas.
And she's in Orlando?
Yeah, she was there. She just went to that show. She's actually, to be fair, like I consider myself a super fan. She might be a super, super, super fan because I've seen, I think she's at least been to 5 Depeche Mode concerts this tour that I've seen. I don't know. She may have gone to more.
Wow.
But I want to say I've seen a bunch. Anyway, she's living the life. I very, very much envy her concert going up happenings these days.
You know, Mark, Christy told me the other day that Depeche Mode were here at the Amalie Arena in Tampa, and we didn't go.
Oh,
We didn't. Oh, it was actually when I was not able to go. So
I was gonna say they did play down there because I was thinking of maybe going to visit you and just hitting the concert, and I thought, maybe that's not the best look. You doing okay there, Mike? Okay, we'll see you next time. We're going to a concert.
It's not really our style, as you know, Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
See,
Yes,
I
I
wouldn't
do.
want to be ya.
Okay, let's get serious here. I really wanted to talk about this phony baloney arbitration business that Scientology is engaged in. And for anybody that doesn't know, I've written about this pretty extensively on my blog, but Scientology has implemented over the last few decades these agreements that everybody has to sign called enrollment agreements. And they are an agreement in order to participate in Scientology services that basically give away everybody's rights to any sort of recourse against Scientology, and, you know, make all these self-serving statements about we understand that Scientology is a religion and that we're participating in religious activities and that we're doing this of our own free will and nobody's coercing us and nobody's doing anything mean to us and we've given them all our money voluntarily and nobody beat it out of us and that sort of stuff. And it also includes within it a paragraph that says that should a dispute arise and I cannot resolve it internally within the church, I agree to participate in religious arbitration. And this is really tricky and sneaky and a dirty, rotten trick because it's not uncommon for agreements to be made with various people. I mean, if you buy a car and you sign a contract to buy a car, you basically agree in that contract that if you want to sue the dealer for something that they do, that you're going to go to arbitration. But what arbitration means in that instance is actually a retired judge. There are these organizations, the American Arbitration Association, who provide this service to people because it's much faster and less costly.
And it's a third party. It's a third party.
Absolutely.
It's not. They have no bias towards either person.
Right. Yep. It's usually retired judges or retired lawyers who bring people in, hear both sides, and make a determination about what they think is the fair and equitable outcome. And it's not a bad thing. And because it's not a bad thing, courts tend to be very pro-arbitration. And the law that has been created over the years has been very pro-arbitration. Because what would happen is the aggrieved party, if they went into arbitration, they didn't get what they wanted, then they'd come back and say, well, now we want a lawsuit. And so a lot of law has been created that says, look, we favor arbitration. It unloads the courts. It's more efficient. It's, we don't want to undermine the idea of people being able to resort to arbitration rather than having to go into the court system. With all that backdrop, Scientology said, okay, we want religious arbitration. Now, I was around when this thing was done, and Bill Drescher was the in-house lawyer, and he said, well, we should put an arbitration clause in there. And I said, Bill, we don't have what is it? He said, it doesn't matter. For the most part, this is never going to come up. And people would just believe that they don't have any avenue to get anything done. So we'll just put it in there. And it's what called in the legal arena in terrorem, the fear factor. It's like you make someone believe that they don't have any rights, and they won't try and exert that. Even if it's not true that they don't have any rights, you make it seem like they don't. Ultimately, what happened was there has never been an arbitration because Scientology doesn't have such a thing. I
don't even think L. Ron Hubbard even has ever mentioned the word arbitration.
There is one mention of the word arbitration that concerns WISE.
Right.
The World Institute of Scientology Enterprise, resolving dispute, but they call it mediation, but in one time it's called an arbitration, but it's really a WISE mediation.
Yeah.
And
like if businesses or yeah, they have some sort of conflict, or hey, I sold you the business, you owe me $20,000, now I only owe you $5,000.
Right,
like
exactly.
That.
But again, the mediator or wise mediator or arbitrator is independent of the two parties that are fighting and makes a decision about who's right and who's wrong, or what percentage of someone's rightness and wrongness. Okay, so when the Lewis and Rocio Garcia sued Scientology in Tampa federal court for taking all their money.
For paying for a bell or a tower that was paid for by 27 other people, cross that was paid for by 27 other people.
Amongst other things. But they were not even suing to get anything back other than the monies that they had paid where they got nothing, no service. They hadn't taken any service. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, but Scientology came into court and said, well, they signed these enrollment agreements for all these things, and they're adults, and they knew what they were doing, and so they need to go to arbitration. And of course, the Garcia's lawyers said, what is this arbitration? Like, how does this work? And they came in and said, well, we have determined that it is to be done according to the policy of L. Ron Hubbard on a committee of evidence. And this was like, I remember I was sitting there, I was like, What?
It's like the biggest kangaroo court in Scientology is a committee of evidence. You are hung, drawn, and quartered before you even get to the meeting.
Yeah, and an arbitration, like, there are numerous things about a committee of evidence that don't fit anywhere in the scenario of an arbitration. Like, you have to be charged with crimes for a committee of evidence to exist, and arbitration isn't supposed to be charging you with anything or finding you guilty or not guilty. It's just resolving a dispute between two parties.
Right.
And there's supposed to be, X number of members, and, there has to be a chairman and a secretary and two to 7 members, or 2 to 5 members. I can't even remember. And it has the committee has to submit their findings to the convening authority for approval before it has any validity. And all of this stuff is not what a regular arbitration looks like, not even remotely.
Right.
But Scientology persuaded the court that they couldn't make or pass judgment about how Scientology conducted its internal ecclesiastical affairs because that would violate the First Amendment of separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm.
So the judge basically threw up his hands and says, okay, you guys go off and do your arbitration, and then if it turns out to be all rotten and bad, come back to me.
Yeah, let us know.
Well, it turned out to be all rotten and bad, and they went back, and he still said, well, it's not that rotten and bad. And then it went up on appeal to the 11th Circuit, and that unfortunately resulted in a 2-1 decision saying we're upholding this arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
The dissent in that is absolutely so spot on. It says, this is not arbitration. This is just arbitrary.
Yes.
It was like the perfect summation, because they made up shit as they went along. Oh, yeah, you're not allowed to have a lawyer there. Oh, you can't take notes. Oh, we're not accepting any of your evidence if it's in theta.
Because it doesn't say, there's no guidelines in the committee of evidence policy that says any of those things. So because it's not there, you can't do anything that it doesn't say in there.
Right. So this sort of set a precedent, and subsequently Scientology has tried this defense in every other case that has been filed since then. And they managed to persuade a court that Valerie Haney should go to arbitration, also that the Baxters and Valeska Gaida should go to arbitration, and that the victims of Danny Masterson in their civil suit should go to arbitration. The Danny Masterson victims appealed to the California Appeals Court, and they won that. Slightly limited, but on the basis that once they've left Scientology, there's no basis for enforcing, or actions or activities that happen once they leave can't be, covered under an arbitration agreement.
You can't run them over with your car 10 years after they leave Scientology and then say, oh, no, we got to deal with this in arbitration because you're a Scientologist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the Valerie Haney case, which is filed in California, is somewhat different because she's all, whatever. It doesn't matter what all the circumstances are. The fact of the matter is she resisted and tried everything, and ultimately had to submit to this arbitration or abandon her lawsuit. And
they even let her pick, who do you want to be?
No, that's part of the that's part of the trickery, is that it requires, and this is a very common thing, one side nominates one arbitrator, the other side nominates a second arbitrator, and then those two together nominate a third one. But the trick of the Scientology one is it has to be a Scientologist in good standing.
which
Valerie Haney
Valerie's not allowed to talk to
is not allowed to talk to anybody
because she is forbidden from talking to them, and they're forbidden to talk to her.
Right. So she can't possibly nominate someone who is in good standing. And in any event, anybody who is in good standing with Scientology wants to stay in good standing with Scientology. So they're not going to do anything that's going to upset Scientology. They don't give a shit about upsetting Valerie or the Garcias or whatever. They're SPs.
Right.
They can be crapped on without any fear of, in fact,
tricked, lied to, or destroyed.
They'll get a pat on the back for tricked, lied to, destroyed.
Yeah.
So Valerie submitted to this arbitration that was held last week in Los Angeles, or began to be held last week in Los Angeles. And her lawyer, Graham Berry, filed with the court a status brief on what happened, or at least some of what happened in this arbitration. And I'm not going to go through all of that because it's pretty lengthy, and she wasn't allowed to bring witnesses. The lawyers weren't allowed in the room. She couldn't record anything. She had to they provided her with a pen and paper to take notes. They wouldn't tell her who the witnesses were beforehand. They just showed up in the room. Like, it was a complete and utter farce. And, Scientology is going to go and tell the court, well, that's just the way we do things, and you can't tell us any different. This is our ecclesiastical procedure. Okay, but there was something about this that really struck my attention, and different than the Garcia case. The people that they nominated, that Scientology, the International Justice Chief, quote unquote, the International Justice Chief does absolutely nothing on this. His name is used. He has no say whatsoever in anything that happens on this.
This is all being tackled many pay grades above his.
Oh, like
yes.
All of them.
Yeah.
Many pay grades above him. Like pay grades above OSA.
Yeah.
Like there are OSA people involved in this for sure. Like Rick Moxon was sitting there, but this is being handled by RTC because Valerie's claims relate in large part and recount in a lot of detail her involvement with David Miscavige and Shelley.
Because she was in Religious Technology Center.
Yep.
Right. She was, in fact, Shelley's like personal assistant.
Yep.
Until Shelley was disappeared. And then Valerie became persona non grata because she was a Shelley person.
Yep.
Right.
In any event, I was struck by when I read this summary that Graham Berry had put together for the court, just who they selected to be the arbitrators for Valerie. And this is an excerpt that I'm going to pull up here if I can get my mouse to start operating. I have mouse problems. Okay. Here we go. After entering the arbitration conference room, plaintiff was stunned to learn that the arbitration panel comprised Sarah Heller, chairperson, Emily Jones, Kirsten Catano, the third arbitrator purportedly chosen by Sarah Heller and Emily Jones. That's what I said. The two arbitrators get to select a third person.
Yeah.
Therefore, the three-person arbitration panel included two members who were either witnesses to plaintiff's alleged abuse or were themselves one of the abusers. One of the abusers being Kirsten Catano.
Yes.
Okay. In attendance to represent the defendants were CSI SEOG members, Chelsea Graves and Amber O'Sullivan. Chelsea Graves is an RTC person, not a CSI person. Amber O'Sullivan is a CSI person, probably, but
was ex-RTC as
RTC.
well.
And is also my cousin.
Right. Lucky Claire.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Lucky Claire.
Uh-huh.
Plaintiff had been precluded from having any representative present. There were also 7 banker's boxes of documents. Now I'm going to take that down and go back to talking. Wrong format. Talking about, I'll get there eventually, guys.
Yes.
It's all good. No worries.
Talking about who these 3 people are, because it is particularly significant that these 3 arbitrators, unlike in the Garcia case, where they took public Scientologists to be the arbitrators, these 3 people are Sea Org members.
They're
They
beholden to the Scientology.
100% beholden. It's
Yeah,
not
and-
just like,
Yeah. And not only are they Sea Org members, but both Emily Jones and Amber O'Sullivan have extensive and very close interaction over several years with Valerie.
right.
And David Miscavige.
Yep.
And Shelley Miscavige. They know everything that she is saying is 100% true and 100% not what anyone needs to know about.
Right. And that's why these people were selected, is because they don't want anybody being exposed to what Valerie has said.
Exactly.
They want people that already know it all, because they're not liable to come running out of there going, oh my God, did you know X, Y, and Z?
Did you know
They
David
already knew it.
Miscavige is beating people up? And
Houston,
No.
we have a problem.
all
Right.
of those people know that David Miscavige is beating people up
Yep.
already.
Right. And we were starting to say beholden. It is more than just, they might lose their job. This is people who are fed, who have a roof over their head, who are provided with their clothes, who were driven to the venue. And if they screw it up, then nobody's going to come pick them up. I mean, this is like their entire life and livelihood, their families, their relationships, their spouses, everything is at risk.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the way that they conduct themselves in this particular procedure.
Yep. And not only that, if anything goes sideways with any of these particular people, they can be vanished just like that, just as was done with Shelley.
Right. Yeah. And Scientology will say, they had a family emergency and
Right.
we'll never hear from them again. And
Yeah.
that'll be
Or
it.
we just
And-
don't even know where they are. That's
Yeah,
been
and-
their excuse before too. Like, we have thousands of employees and we have no idea where each and every one of them are. And you're like, pretty sure that's exactly opposite of the truth.
Right.
Right. Okay. So let's just take them one by one.
Yes.
Let's start with
My favorite.
the favorite of all, the internal security officer of OSA International, Kirsten
And they call
Thorne, Juju,
Jari, Vinny, Catano, Pedersen. She-
Um,
this woman has been Scientology. Just if any case anybody's wondering, Scientology is not going to help you with your relationships. That's not gonna work. This girl's been married 5 times, and she's in charge of she's been married 4 times at least that we know of, and she's in charge of keeping security in on Sea Org members that escape from the Sea organization.
Yep. And she's also a second generation Scientologist and probably even Sea Org member. But yeah.
not just a second generation Scientologist. Her father, Colin, was a Guardian's Office member in Washington, D.C.,
There
who
you go.
worked with Rick Moxon, another Guardian's Office member in Washington, D.C., and an unindicted co-conspirator.
Involved in the largest infiltration of the United States government in its history.
Right.
Yes.
So,
She's Scientology spy royalty.
yes, she is the, I don't know what you would call it. A spy royalty doesn't quite capture it, Mark. She's like the chief spook and enforcer for anybody who is a former Sea Org member. She runs and directs the spies that are sent in on former Scientologists. She arranges them to get jobs and get, monitored at their workplaces. She organizes the sec checks. She gets the security guards to watch over the people while they're being sec checked. I mean, all of that sort of stuff. I know she looks kind of sweet and innocent, but she is a...
Do not judge a book by its cover, as the saying goes.
Yes, sirree, Bob.
This one's got a black, cold heart, folks. This one right here.
She really does have a black, cold heart. And
Ice Princess right there.
She can be... She's very soft-spoken. She's very sort of unassuming, but she has had... Whatever humanity she may have started out with has been sucked out of her over many, many, many years. And it's really kind of sad to see. I knew her when she was like a teenager. Mm-hmm. She came into OSA when she was a teenager, and she was sort of the little innocent young kid that, worked in the Invest Bureau. Anyway, she was selected because she would be under normal circumstances, she would be directing this whole thing. Like, this is of the level that they've taken the person who would ordinarily be overseeing and controlling what was being done to deal with someone like Valerie, and used her as the main person.
She knows exactly how they want this played, because that's her entire job.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Which brings us to the next person, Sarah Heller. Sarah Heller is another OSA staff. She is at Flag. She started out being a legal preps person many, many, many years ago, way back in my day. Ultimately became the legal director of the Flag Land Base. And now I think that she is probably the head of the Office of Special Affairs, because, Ben Shaw is blown like 4 times. So I think he just gets used as a spokesperson. I believe Sarah is the head of OSA for Flag.
Okay.
Again, another person who, if she wasn't on the arbitration panel herself, she would be the person overseeing this sort of thing at Flag.
Yep.
For people at Flag. And she is the boss of Kathy True, the infamous Flag OSA sec checker woman who chases people around the country and gets them back or tries to get them back. She was the one that showed up to get Debbie and Wayne Baumgartner back, Debbie Cook and Wayne back when they tracked him down in a restaurant in South Carolina. She is again, the person who has seen everything. She knew all about what happened in the Garcia arbitration, she was at every hearing in the Garcia case. So she knows all the arguments that were made. So they bring her in because she understands kind of the legal, this is what we can probably get away with. This is what we can't get away with. Here's what we got to be careful about. Don't say this. Don't do it that way. That's Sarah Heller. Sarah, my most recent interaction with her was when we were doing the Aftermath show, and
park.
Mark Bunker went and sat in that park across from caddy corner from Dave's old office, where the drive-through restaurant used to be.
Yeah, Checkers.
And,
Checkers, yeah.
Yeah, and Sarah Heller was the one who called the police. And when Leah and I showed up to meet with Mark, who'd been sitting on a bench in that park right behind his shoulder there, he was just sitting there doing nothing. She called the police and said that he was trespassing on this supposedly available to the public park and was in violation of a stay-away order injunction. And Sarah Heller was sitting in the office across the street from this park. It sits on the corner, and it's called the Clearwater Community Volunteers something or other. I don't know. It's just one of the Potemkin Village places that they have. And she had given the police that red thing that he is holding, red cover. This that Mark Bunker had to stay 10 feet away from any Scientologist because of this injunction that had been issued like 20 years ago. Yeah. And it was the most absurd thing. And I'm like, I keep saying to the police, well, why don't you tell Sarah to come out here? Let's chat to Sarah about this. Mm-hmm. And the police actually walked back across the street and came back and said she won't come out. Like, this is confront and shatter at its finest. Okay, so that's Sarah, and now we move on to Emily Jones. And Emily Jones is another tragic story. This is Emily on the right with her mother and father, Phil and Willie, and her brother, Mike. And anybody who has watched any of the Scientology TV, read Tony Ortega's blog, read my blog, knows a lot about the story of Phil and Willie and the lengths that they went to try and get back in touch with Emily and Mike. And Emily works at Author Services. Mm-hmm. And there's another picture of her here at Author Services, or doing some thing with one of those L. Ron Hubbard monsters at Park City. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're that's right. The old Turl.
That's the old Turl, not the new Turl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to associate any Battlefield Earth with the movie Battlefield Earth because it's so bad. So they reverted back to old Turl. Because John Travolta's Turl was too much. That cod piece was just wouldn't fit in the frame.
and also the platform shoes. It just, wasn't good for a landscape layout.
Right. And you guys had mentioned that Emily worked at ASI and that was engaged in and involved in a lot of the, upper level activities of Scientology.
Well, yes. Also Emily was in RTC.
Yes. Emily and Valerie joined the Sea Org together in Clearwater, Florida. And then they both were obviously brought to the Hemet property in, I think, approximately 2000, 2001. And they were both stewards for David and Shelley Miscavige.
Right. When I was in Clearwater, Claire, for the, 3 or 4 years that I was there during Lisa McPherson, yep. Emily and Valerie and George were the 3 service people for Miscavige.
Yes.
So I got to know Val and Emily pretty well because when Dave wasn't around or when they weren't doing anything for him, they would come and give us leftover snacks. Like me and Marty lived in the apartment next door to Dave. So they'd give us like leftover snacks and then we'd start chat with them. So I got to know them pretty well. But these, again, are people who won't be affected, or Emily is another person who won't be affected by hearing Valerie talking about Shelley and what happened with Shelley and, how Dave was treating Shelley because she saw it too. So the thing about Emily is that Phil and Willie, 2 of the nicest people that you could ever imagine, went to such enormous lengths to try and recover their relationship with Emily and Mike that they put up this billboard, which became pretty famous and got a lot of media coverage and, was on national TV and in a lot of papers, trying to get them To my loved one in Scientology, call me. Paid for by Phil Jones and
Friends.
So that's a sort of a sad. Oh, did it again.
Oh, Phil is in the chat here with us.
Oh, hi, Phil.
Yeah. Hello,
we
Phil.
are. Phil, I am getting to your. I'm making my way to your. We have something lined up that's actually pretty cool. Or Phil has something lined up that we're going to talk about that's pretty cool.
Nice.
I just haven't gotten to it yet. It takes a little bit of work to do, but I want to not think that I've forgotten. I have not. In any event, oh, and we got one more picture here. I might as well just throw it up. This is Claire's cousin.
Amber. They don't
Amber
look a thing
O'Sullivan.
like each other.
Yep. Amber O'Sullivan. And by the way, just for, if we want to know what Amber's behavior is, this is a picture of her in a hate video she did on me talking about an incident that she was not even in the same country when it happened. So there's that.
But she's got red hair and she's English and she worked in the same place as you, so she's qualified.
Yep.
This is another person, along with Chelsea Graves, who is not going to be shocked by whatever comes out of Valerie's mouth.
Yep. And Amber is also someone who was born into the Sea Organization and has been raised as David Miscavige's Nazi youth from birth to do his bidding, and she does it with violent intent.
You know what I just realized?
Yeah.
She was also a steward. Valerie,
Right.
Emily, and
Amber.
Amber they all worked together for Dave and Shelley Miscavige. All three of them.
So
at the
they've
same
all
time.
witnessed David Miscavige abusing people. You're right, Mike. None of what Valerie says, including that the fact she had to escape from that Gilman Hot Springs property in the trunk of a car, will shock Amber or Emily one bit, because they already know.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and then they won't be shocked about the fact that, Dave and Shelley had separate bedrooms, and that that Shelley confided in Valerie, and, like all of the stuff that Valerie has talked about that would be electrifying to most people.
Yeah. And let's not forget that those were her best friends.
Right.
So the fact that not only will they're not going to be, susceptible to any, blasphemous information that she might have, but they're also going to be there to psychologically terrorize Valerie. Like, look at you, look what you've done, look what you look like, look what, just like to try to shame her for what she's doing in addition to everything else. It's just a package of insanity that they've put together for her.
And these people are do you remember everybody watching? You may have seen the video of Jenny Linson, Dave Bloomberg, and Mark Yeager confronting Marty Rathbun
at LAX.
Yep.
Yes.
And those people, and also the audio tape of when those same and other people came to confront me in the parking lot in Clearwater.
Yeah.
They are all briefed and drilled on what to do to, quote, introvert the person that they are with, or that they are going to deal with.
They study your Scientology files, and they isolate the things that you have a tension on, or you are insecure about, or whatever, however you want to word it. They cherry pick your weaknesses, and then all of those people, all they do is talk about that incessantly. Like, no matter what the subject is, or no matter what the question or statement is, it's, well, yeah, but are you still having bad relationships? You still can't have a good relationship? And it'll be like, does that have to do with your bad relationships? Is that why you're here attacking us? Because you still can't get a relationship? And they just, if you want to see an example of it, they did it to Mark Bunker in Clearwater when they sent protesters out at him. They would pick it at the time. Mark, he was probably 200 pounds pounds heavier than he is today. And they constantly just picked at his weight the entire time that they were engaging with him. And they will do the exact same thing in a scenario like this.
Yeah, it's Scientology's emotional and mental terrorism of an individual. Yeah,
exactly. And I was going to say also that in this circumstance, it's like they always do these things when it's a number of them against one.
yes.
You will see this happen routinely. They send a little posse out, and there is one guy or one woman, and they are alone, and they are ganged up on by these other people.
Yep.
They did that to me when I went to the base with that Danish film crew. They sent 10 people out to yell at me on the highway at 7:00 at night.
Right.
Yep. They've done it to me when they knew Mark was in Germany. They sent PIs to my house when I was alone with my young kids. They do it systematically.
They did it to Christie with the Freedom magazine reporter jumping out of the bushes with a gang, and like it's always this really controlled environment that they like to create, or a controlled circumstance where they are outnumbering the other person or the person that they are trying to intimidate by number factor.
And they also want it to be a sneak attack so that you cannot prepare or ready yourselves for the thing. And this is covered in the spy files. When we were reading the last spy file I released yesterday, they said, we'll have to, we want to pick a time when he won't be able to prepare.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So this was, I look at this and I go, oh, okay, well, this was perfect. They set this up. They did it in a Scientology building too. Like it's not even a neutral location. So
not like an office. Like if you go to like a, place where they do depositions or something and they have a court reporter there and it's just like, it's just an office.
Yeah. Well, when you go to an AAA arbitration, a regular arbitration, you go to what's sort of like a law office. They have conference rooms. The judges have they have their offices where they can break out. Like you go in, there's a waiting room. I've been to tons of these. There's a waiting room and a conference room and the office of the mediator or the arbitrator. And they take both sides. They take one side, then they take the other side, then they come back out and then they talk to you and then they say this and then they get everybody together and say, okay, now let's work this out.
Yeah.
And what's really going on. Anyway, this is not what happened to Valerie. It's not what happened to the Garcias. And I can see the plan was to be so intimidating and so overwhelming to Valerie that she would just give up, because this was, forcing her to alone, because she was not allowed to have an attorney with her, alone sit in a room and be abused by the people who had abused her in order to, quote, get justice for her abuse.
Yeah, it's
and
insanity.
It is sick. It is insane. But I think that they have made a horrendous mistake.
Because now they've stacked the deck so much in their favor that this is now obviously not a fair, unbiased arbitration procedure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you could, it wouldn't even matter if it was 3 random Sea Org members. The fact that those people are completely and utterly beholden to one of the sides of this arbitration and rely on them entirely for their next meal
and their next place to sleep.
Yeah. And whatever is just outrageous. And I think that Scientology, in Dave's desperation to make sure that nobody hears anything about him that they haven't already heard, that no new dissemination of the shit that he is engaged in goes to someone who's never heard it before, that they have done something that is very, very detrimental to their ability to be able to keep these things going.
They might have taken their lucky break and broken it in two on this one.
Exactly.
David Miscavige, always the master of foot bullets.
That's a Beatles reference for you there, Mike.
There you go.
Oh.
I know, Mark. In any event, I just wanted to. I know I've dominated this entire conversation so far.
No, not at all.
No. This is your wheelhouse, Mike.
It's really, really important. This subject is really, really important, and I just want everybody, anywhere, anyhow, to know what really is going on, because you never know who may be the clerk of the next judge who happens to watch this,
Right.
and then goes, "Oh, I know what really is going on here.
Yeah,
I know how this really works," or who knows what. But the more people that know about this, and the more the information is disseminated and made known broadly, the better. And I don't want to let this one go by without commentary about it and our insight, because oddly, the three of us know all of these people very, very personally.
Yeah.
And know exactly what is at play here.
Right.
Like, to most people, these are just random names. They don't get it. I don't even think the lawyers understood.
No.
Like, I wrote to them and said, guys, please pay attention here. This is important.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also, Chelsea, of all those people, did it say she was representing CSI in that little thing?
No, that's Graham Berry saying she's a CSI person.
Okay. Because Chelsea, her specific post was as a religious technology center interrogator. That was her job. I want to say almost the entire time that she was at the Int base in the Religious Technology Center, she was either a trainee to become an interrogator or she was an interrogator. Yeah, and I know this
Chelsea,
because she has spent hours and hours and hours interrogating me.
Yeah, me.
You know, she's interrogated you as well, Mike?
Oh, hours,
Chelsea?
Hours, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we were best buds after the amount of interrogating she did on me.
Yep. So Chelsea was Chelsea Sala. She was married to Adam Sala. When she divorced him in order to be promoted to Religious Technology Center, which happened in approximately 1997, 1998. And from that time forward until, as far as I know, until current day, she has been, her specialty is interrogating people for David Miscavige. In fact, the last day that I was in Religious Technology Center in September 2004, Shelley Miscavige called me and said, of Chelsea Graves or Laura Dolan, which one of those people should stay in Religious Technology Center to check Tom Cruise's personal staff? And for a variety of reasons I won't get into, I said Chelsea. So there you go. Chelsea remained in Religious Technology Center and Laura did not.
And I got pictures from Star Magazine of Chelsea going into Tom Cruise's house to check his staff, to give his staff interrogations on the e-meter. So
she is also the daughter of a prominent big-time Scientology donator who's now married to Judy Norton-Taylor, Bob Graves, in the Bay Area. Who
used to be married to Charisse Graves, who's Chelsea's mom. But yeah.
Anyway, these people are hardcore.
Yes.
Very hardcore. All of them. All five of those people that we just named, all five of those women are all hardcore.
Yeah. By the way, Mike, do you, not to get off topic, but Sarah Heller, do you know who her parents are?
I can't remember, Claire. I was trying to remember earlier.
Was it Margaret Supak? I just remember
For some
Sarah
reason, I think so.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because I remember Sarah as a young girl at Greenfields, which is the Scientology school
Right.
in England. The point being that all of them are second generation Scientologists, and all of them, their lives depend on pulling this off. And as you said, Mike, David Miscavige has backed himself into a massive pile of doo-doo.
I didn't say that, but you
Well,
did, and I like
that's
it.
my interpretation of what you said.
I like your interpretation, Claire. I thought that was very good.
It ain't gonna smell good from this point forward.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, we'll see what happens in the courts. Courts is a crapshoot. Courts is
Yeah,
a crapshoot.
it really is.
Although,
And unfortunately, yeah, as we all know, this is what Scientology uses their millions for, to hire the best, most powerful law firms in the country. And it's incredibly intimidating on any level to go up against them from personal experience.
right.
It's no walk in the park at all.
And
It's
also,
made that way.
even if there's legally, this is not really that big of a deal in terms of like how it affects the case, or if it does or if it doesn't. But Scientology doesn't even really care. They just want to delay, and they want to try something new. And if it works, then they'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, then they won't do that anymore. Or, you know, but they want this to drag out. They want Valerie to be worn down by just attrition and just the amount she'll have to spend, or the amount of time, or she has to travel back to California from Florida or wherever. You know, they want this to go on forever.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
or be over with.
Mark, this procedure that Valerie went through last week lasted 2.5 days. And they got to the end of the 2.5 days and they said, oh, we're adjourning now. We will reconvene in January 2024. And it was like, what do you mean? Why don't we just finish it now? Oh, we're busy. 3 Sea Org members.
Which, by the way, Sea Org members spend 99% of their time doing useless busy work that doesn't really need to be done. And if it didn't get done, nothing would happen.
And those 3 were taken. They have spent, I guarantee you, at least a week preparing, drilling, studying, being briefed, etc., before they were allowed to even begin this proceeding.
Right.
And if the powers that be that selected them said, you are going to do this for the next 3 months, every day for the next 3 months, that's what they would do.
Yeah.
That's all they would do.
And
it's
also,
like Taryn.
and also, yeah, don't think that Scientology didn't video whatever happened in this meeting.
Yeah. Oh.
And if those girls didn't put on, if these women that got called, if they didn't put on the show of their lives to shut this thing down, now they're on trial internally based on whatever mess ups, or if they said something they weren't supposed to say, or if anything went sideways that was caused by one of these Scientology witnesses or plants or whatever you want to call them, then they're going to be on the hot seat on their side before they come back and do the next part of this.
Right. Not to mention the fact that I think it's a guarantee that they were preparing. Those women were preparing for this full time for at least 1 to 2 months for that 2.5 days.
Oh, there's no doubt, Claire.
Yeah.
And like I said, if the powers that be who had selected them and told them that they were the ones that were going to be doing this arbitration said, you're going to be doing this permanent. This is now your permanent position. This is what all you're going to do for the rest of your life. That would be how it would be.
Yep.
It's not like they have any control over their what their assignments are, or whether they can or can't make it to the next arbitration session.
Exactly.
They're just being told what to do. They don't have any say-so whatsoever. And if someone told them show up again tomorrow, they'd be there tomorrow. If they say don't show up tomorrow, they won't be there tomorrow. That's it.
They are literal puppets, aka chess pieces in this legal madness.
Pawns.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Pawns.
Pawns.
Yes.
Prawns.
Prawns.
Well, you
Yep.
got another shrimp on the barbie.
We've got 2,000 people in the chat right now.
Oh,
at
nice.
that.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay. Do you want to take some comments and questions?
Yeah, you want me to put them up and you read them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Here we go. Salty Beach Girl Lori.
Oh, I'm supposed to read it.
Yeah,
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
I'm a little slow.
that's okay. I can
Okay.
read it too.
Have work to do. Gonna be in the AirPods, not the chat. Getting my blah, blah, blah request in early. Team Mike, looking so strong and well, Mike. Thank you, Salty Beach Girl Laurie.
There
Yes.
you go.
Good to see you, salty beach girl, Lori.
Blah,
here-
blah, blah.
There's another one.
Oh, look at y'all. Bring all the facts. Thanks for sharing your time and experience as always. MC2 minus missing sweet Christy. BTs activate. That's
BTs
true.
activate.
You have to do
Yes.
that when you do it. I got this new X. I'm doing an X gang sign for Xenu too. I'm going to figure that one out.
Okay, here's an X gang sign for Xena.
I know that's what I
really
literally,
have to figure
Mike.
much
I
out.
literally did the same exact thing. I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out which it was, and then I was like, "How dumb do you got to be not just to go like that?"
So we have BTs activate, and then we have
Team
Power-
Xenu.
Hail Xenu.
Xenu.
Hail Xenu. Team
Hail
Xenu.
Xenu. Yeah. Hail
is
Xenu.
my
Team
homeboy.
Xenu. Xenu's my homeboy. Xenu anything will get the Scientologists off your tail really quick.
Yep.
And also, if you say body thetans, and I realized this, if you say body thetans, Scientology go, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. We don't call them body thetans. We just call them thetans.
Yep.
Right.
Because all the way up until OT3, you talk about thetans, but you never, ever hear about a body thetan.
Right.
So an effort to get around that little kind of Scientology brainwash, we just call them BTs. We just call them space cooties. And that makes it much easier. And also space cooties is fun to say. And also that is what they think. They think we all have space cooties. So it's kind of funny. You can't see them. They could be on you. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. You could have 5,000. You could have 50,000. Nobody knows. It's just all made up.
Okay. Dear Mike, I'm still listening to your book. I think it's a beautiful gesture from you to your children. I really hope one day they will read it and see the other side of the story. Best wishes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doris. I do too.
Nice.
Linda, Kirsten must just like wedding cake.
I saw that. I had to, as soon as it came up, I was like,
Manchester B.
yeah. I was like, Linda, you win the chat tonight. This Kirsten gal loves her some wedding cake. That must be what it is.
Yep. Amber's already married and divorced once now, too, by the way.
Oh, Amber is too?
Yeah, she was married to Winston Miller.
Yeah, but you get married like you change your outfit in the Sea Org. Some people.
Do you now?
Christy Lynn Wilson. So crazy. Judges should educate themselves on CLS.
Yes, exactly. That's why we're here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kay's in the house. Mike, sorry I didn't see your email right away. Yes, I'll talk to you and your contact. Sent my number in email. Okay.
There you go, folks.
Okie dokie.
There you go.
10-4 rubber duck.
A
You
little,
get some secret code
going on.
Got some mystery sandwich cooking up right
Phil.
there.
Hey,
There's
buddy.
Phil.
Karen,
Hey,
yes, they
Phil.
are our kids. Yes, they are.
Wow, look at that. How I wonder if Phil always watches or he just happened to watch.
He
this
watches
video.
a lot. I've
Yeah.
seen him comment a lot in things. He's a very very supportive.
Yeah.
Kerry Green, I have been in Clearwater my whole life, now living in Palm Harbor. Without saying names, I worked in ICU at Morton Plant Hospital from 1988 to 2007. I took care of a couple of very, very sick Scientologists. It was bizarre. Always had someone there taking notes and interfering. It was crazy to me. Kerry, I got to tell you, when I was in the hospital, I was in the sister hospital, the Morton Plant, and the number of doctors and nurses, when they found out who I was, and some of them knew, and then after I was there for a while, everybody knew who would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, we had Scientologists in here, and they always have handlers. I don't know what these people think they're doing. They're handlers. They come in here, they sit, they tell us what we're supposed to do. They don't want them to take any medication. It's like crazy."
It's literally having somebody there with you so that whatever the doctor says, this person can say, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
Like literally just there to impede them. And they're in the hospital being treated by the hospital.
Yeah.
And this Scientologist is going to be like, no, that's not the way this works. We're not going to do it that way.
Right. They have a great deal of unexpressed resentment.
Yeah.
The subject.
Yeah, and by the way, we should comment. We've heard the exact same from law enforcement as well.
Yeah,
of similar scenarios. So yeah, again, that's why we're here to educate people and work on exposure.
Maria, hi Maria. Hello, Eminem. Claire, I got the SPTV directory domain.
goodness.
Tell me what to do next. P.S. My knee hurts like a son of a gun.
Oh, Maria, I will email you. I'm sorry your knee's hurting. Hope it feels better.
Okay, stranger than fiction. Valerie has gone into the mouth of the shark, asking not to be bit again. Yeah, that is.
I saw that and I thought that's a really good analogy. That is exactly what it is. Go back to prison and say, hey, you know, I didn't like how some of the guards treated me here. I want to sort that out. And it's like, okay, let's bring in the 3 guards that beat you the most and we'll see what they think about your story.
Yep. Amelia Dijou. Thank you, Amelia. Nick X, they screwed the deck completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I said they stacked the deck. Yeah, Scientology's got this misplaced big deck energy. I don't know what they're doing, but it's just definitely, they usually shoot themselves in the foot.
Rosemary. Oh, Rosemary, I received my fake Navy Davy elf. Imagine my surprise when I saw it was life-sized. Thank you, Claire, for the lovely gift you sent me. Are they handmade? Very beautiful. Your boys did a great job.
Oh,
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosemary. So lovely to see you here. I will get you the name of the person that made you the gift. And yes, they're handmade. So I'm so glad you received them.
Aaron. Oh, hi, Aaron.
You remember Aaron?
Oh, yes. The lady who has been to the gold base. I don't know how many times.
She's been more times than some Golden Era members, staff members.
Exactly.
Didn't she go to like their golf tournaments and stuff like that?
Yes.
She'd just show up and be videoing it. And as soon as Danny Dunnigan found out she's there, he'd go down there and harass her and video her.
Exactly.
And be Danny Dun it again.
Yeah.
Holy
Captions
moly.
keep saying sex check instead of security check. LOL.
Oh yeah.
What
it does
captions?
that. If you watch with captions on, you can watch YouTube with captions on.
Oh, I didn't know
for
that.
some reason, whenever I say sec check, it always writes sex check.
Because it knows that the majority of the questions are actually about sex.
Yeah, exactly. It knows Scientology's own thing.
Yep. Mrs. T. Rush. Does
Hey.
the court have any authority to overturn arbitration requirements when it's shown to be the BS? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
This is playing into the judges and the court system's sort of propensity to want things to go to arbitration, to get it out of their system and to unclog the cases and the time and all the money that with all these people that do these things, they have to budget on certain things, and Scientology will drain your entire budget if you're always dealing with their cases.
Right.
Yep.
Lady Lubricant. Is there a way I can support SPs in Australia? Sure. I mean, we look, the Aftermath Foundation gets requests from people all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you that there has been anybody from Australia, but there may be, and
we've
there may
helped-
become.
We have helped people in
yeah.
Australia.
We
yeah.
flew somebody
We
from
flew someone
Australia.
From Australia, that's right. That's
Who was
exactly
stranded
right.
there. We got her back home. Yeah. So, and
Yeah,
other
you're-
people too. But yeah, our needs are, varied. Let's just put it that way. And in our November 4th fundraiser update, we'll cover the programs that we're expanding, and those are more broad reaching, and so exciting things on the horizon. But best case is just to sign up at the aftermathfoundation.org.
Yep. Okay, Helena Ann Hittel, COVID flu shots got my BTs attacking, but it's always great to see you.
Yeah, you got to watch out. Don't stick a BT. They don't like that.
You stir up all the rest.
Oh, yeah.
Get them all a buzz.
You don't want to stir up the bees.
Omila 7. In Polish, OSA means a wasp. I can never think of OSA members as anything other than wasps.
That's amazing.
How cool is that?
You know what? OSA are like wasps because they just are annoying, and they don't make honey. They just sting people. They wreck picnics. Okay. That's what they do. And that's a fact. Mike and Aaron and a bunch of guys in Florida went to a picnic, and OSA ruined it by showing up to the picnic, just like a wasp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bob Sweet. Mark, I tweeted at you about the Honest trailer since I didn't know any other way to tell you all. Did you watch? I was so excited when they mentioned Shelley.
Yeah. So this company did this trailer, and they reviewed, I think it was the latest Mission Impossible movie, and they threw shade at Tom Cruise. They called him Tiny Tom Cruise, and they said if he passes away in a stunt or something like that, he'll just disappear like Shelley Miscavige or something like that was in the trailer. And Scientology went all aggro on him on Twitter. So I think Aaron did a video about it already.
Yep.
But yes, we did see that, Bob. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
By the way, someone also sent me something today, I think it was, about a podcast called H3H, I think it is.
Yeah, it's called H3. I know it. I know
H3.
Ethan and these guys. It's a very, very popular podcast on YouTube.
They did a whole segment about Scientology yesterday.
That's right. And I know. And
nice.
Anybody over at H3, if you're watching, I'll come on anytime. I'll tell you all the craziness.
Yeah, you should get Mark and I on together. It'll be a wild old ride.
Yeah, we will tell you whatever you want to know.
Yep.
Yeah. I watched that segment, and it was pretty entertaining. It's very I was surprised. They've got like 3 million followers, and B, how the thing is conducted. It's total, let's talk about this now. Let's talk about that now.
That's sort of the way a lot of these podcasts are. It's just people hanging out talking.
Yeah. And
that's how a lot of these podcasts have evolved. They used to interview people, and they used to have a topic, and then it just got to like, hey, it's a new week. Here we are.
Exactly.
So what happened with you? What'd you do? I couldn't go to the bathroom for 3 days. Really? That sucks. That's it. That's it. An hour goes by. And they're like, we'll see you next week. How about that? Hey.
Well, they do 3.5 hours.
I know. Yeah.
4 hours.
That's a big pod.
Right.
They got a lot of people going.
Yeah. I'd not heard of it. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I was also pleasantly surprised to see Bill Maher take another shot at Scientology last Friday.
You know, the other thing, Mike, is a lot of these shows, I cannot wait. John Oliver, where are you? We've got Xenu is my homeboy merch on a Scientology expose channel. Where are you at, dude? We're like, this is a whole, just SPTV Nation is just at least an episode or that end story of the night.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah,
come on. Get on it. Writer's strike, we're throwing you a bone, dude. That's just a gimme episode. Anyway, the thing that I've noticed is a lot of these people that are talking about Scientology, they know a lot more than the old days when they're just like, what I heard about L. Ron Hubbard at the clay table. No. They know a lot. They've watched an Aftermath or a Going Clear or 3 days of SPTV, or they're very educated on how all the pieces go together. And a lot of people know, lingo. Like, what's his name? The Super Size Me guy. Remember we saw him at the Going Clear. Morgan Spurlock.
Morgan Spurlock.
Morgan Spurlock. We're at the back. We're at the green room at the Going Clear, and he goes, were you guys some of the guys at the Int base? And I was like, what? The Int base? I was like, look at you. And then he goes, and then I said, oh, yeah, I used to work at the Int base. He goes, were you ever on the RPF? And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, Dr. Inside Lingo. He's like, I've always wanted to do a film on Scientology. I was like, wow, these guys are really knowledgeable.
We're ready and waiting. Morgan, it's time for another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go. Okay, Miss Hendricks. I rewatched the Panorama interview after a few years, and I hardly recognized Mike. Wow, is Tommy Davis still in? Well, Tommy Davis is still...
He blew the Sea Org.
Right, well, for the
Longer,
second time.
stronger, faster, harder, my ass.
He blew the Sea Org for the second time.
Yeah.
And this time he didn't come back.
Well, this time he actually blew his entire life. He divorced his wife, scuttled the kids,
his twin daughters, and ran off to Egypt, and married a movie star or something,
Egyptian princess,
something like that. But he still toes the Scientology party line, because his mama and stepdaddy are very much still Scientologists in good standing.
And they also have that Tommy Davis, whoistommydavis.com website
ready
just
to
sitting
roll
there. It hasn't been published, but the draft is ready. So if he makes one little sideways move, they just click one little button at OSA and there you go. Tommy Davis, you're now on blast by Scientology.
Fire it up.
Yep. Telperion. Captain Davies pro-life tips. Never listen to doctors or lawyers. You tell them what to do.
That's right. Yeah, and if you're L. Ron Hubbard, you add dentists to the list.
Never spoke to a dentist.
That's what I'm saying. Do not involve yourself with dentists.
In fact, now that you mentioned that, you're right. L. Ron Hubbard never even talked about dentists.
Oh no, he literally. Have you seen? He had. It was like
I know.
It was like a dumpster fire going on inside there. That dude wasn't going to the dentist. Yeah, I think he thought there were BTs in Colgate.
Oh my goodness.
Lena on me. Oh, that's clever. Claire, I love your haircut. Also, Kirsten doesn't look innocent to me. She looks like a witch. Sorry, guys. Love you all to pieces.
Oh,
Thank
you have
Lena
no idea.
On me. And yes, we agree with you. Kirsten is absolutely a witch.
Kirsten
Project.
Kirsten also happens to be one of the main authors of the Scientology spy files.
Yes, exactly.
She might have written 90% of the content in there, and she's the one who called our baby ugly and sickly. And the reason we were attacking Scientology is we're jealous of Tom Cruise's baby. Like, that was her analysis of why we were exposing Scientology and how we started doing it a year before we had the baby. So I'm not sure exactly how that worked. We knew we had a fortune. What do you call it? Crystal ball.
Some of this stuff.
It just creeps me out that she had a picture of our baby when he was hours old.
Yeah.
And that was her comment. Oh my gosh. Let me just breathe for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of this stuff is so embarrassing to have ever been associated with. Mm-hmm. Not even a part of, just even associated with it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
I know. I completely agree.
Free Xenu project of Farsec. I love that. I love the parenthetical note.
Yeah, it's the best because that's where psychiatrists came from. They came from the planet Farsec. And we're on TGAC, in case you guys aren't keeping up with all the space cootie lingo. Okay.
There you go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, good old TGAC.
Mike, Marc, and Claire, so glad to see you on together. By the way, Marc and Claire sent you pics of Chicago Org.
Nice.
Oh,
I'll get caught up on that.
I bet you it's bustling.
Pretty sure there might be a Captain Davy in front of it. We're getting, by the way, people, if you guys have bought one of the Captain Davy and his space fake Navy or whatever we call them,
Captain Chucklesworth.
Captain Jugglesworth. If you go, Captain Poopy Pants, if you
Fake
go,
Navy Davy.
if you go to a Scientology, or even if you just want to take a picture with the guy in front of the Eiffel Tower or the Empire State Building, feel free to send the pictures in. We are gonna start doing a thing where we show those because we've gotten tons of them and they're really hilarious.
Yes.
So, and we might even have some kind of contest where maybe the best one gets an SP bracelet or a bobblehead or something like that.
Yes, all available on the spshop.com.
Bob Sweet. Hi, Claire. I got my SP bracelet on Tuesday. Thanks. How about a Claire Bear the Barbarian teddy bear?
Nice. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. T. Rush, is that the problem, clearing court dockets, not judges that are either ignorant or in COS's pocket? Okay. Yes, it is in large part clearing court dockets. If you've ever been into Superior Court in Los Angeles, or in fact, any other courtroom in the United States, and watched the beginning of a day in the life of one of those judges, it is insane. These guys have like stacks of cases. Like they may be dealing with 30 different cases that day, and then 30 different ones the following day, and then another 30 the day after that. It is insane. But the second part of it is the ignorance. And the difficulty is with that little time to devote to any of these cases, you have to have a judge presiding over a massive criminal case like the Danny Masterson case before they have the time to devote to actually be able to get a grip on what it is that they're dealing with.
That's exactly right.
You can't, it doesn't happen just in motion practice or in these little hearings that they have where there's like, you walk into those courtrooms, there's 150 people in there waiting for their hearing that morning.
Yeah. And the other kind of bad thing that happens is the judges that know about Scientology and know what they're up to, in some cases will recuse themselves from that case because they don't want to have any freaking thing to do with Scientology.
Right.
They know that it's going to be a shit show when that thing gets, if they do it the right way, it's going to end up staying and going forward, and then it's going to be a nightmare. So there's a lot of Scientology. Really, they've spent 70 years perfecting how to get loopholes and navigate this system to where they've gotten today. It's not by accident that they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on legal people and politicians and people who know people to talk to people, and they rub shoulders in all the right places. So it's a lot of these factors, but yeah, there you go. I think we answered that question pretty thoroughly.
Extensively. Points of caution. Arbitration. Please check out Swifts v. Ticketmaster and judge's decision on Ticketmaster's unfair arbitration process. YouTuber Emily D. Baker covered it. Judge ruled against Ticketmaster's request. Okay, I will definitely check that out. There is another famous case. Hooters. Hooters has had a case, and that's another
ironically headquartered out of Clearwater, Florida.
Ironically headquartered. Yes. Where they basically, whatever, I'm not even going to get into it. But thanks
there's other
for that.
cases.
I'm going to, wait, let me just make a note.
I think it's Swift versus Ticketmaster because it was Taylor Swift.
Oh,
was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Probably.
She's the one who kind of went after Ticketmaster, I'm pretty sure. So I'm assuming
probably
that's
right.
what it would be.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that points of caution. We appreciate it.
I should go on that Emily D. Baker show. And
You
talk
should.
about this.
Yes.
She has a great show.
I know she does.
And she doesn't seem to get into a lot of nonsense. There's a little bit of drama here and there, but for the most part, it's just the facts, ma'am, kind of stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I've watched some of her stuff. I was quite impressed. So anybody that knows Emily D. Baker and has a line into her, tell us she should reach out, and I'll happily go on her podcast.
Have message her on Instagram.
Yes, sir. I'll get
no,
right on it.
I'm a ma'am. I retired from being a sir.
Oh, you're
Please.
a ma'am.
I
Yes,
get
ma'am.
triggered if anyone calls me sir.
Don't
just
even
so
get
you
me
know.
going about Claire and her yelling at people on an airplane the other day. Oh,
I
my
was helping
goodness.
an old woman.
She yelled at
asked
this
for
guy
help.
from
I did
across the
not.
plane. She goes, "Sir, sir." And she was, you know, she did
Oh
like
my
a Sea
God.
Org thing where it's like,
Okay, Mike.
and
of
then
the two of us,
no. Just let me
who
tell my
overstate
side.
things?
Just let me tell my side. And then the guy was sitting. He was on my side of the plane. We had opposite seats on the plane. Anyway, I'm on the other side of the plane, and the guy goes. He was annoyed that she yelled at him, and then he pulled a face at me, and I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't know that one's with me. Anyway, and then he goes, yes, ma'am, but because she said, sir, and then he goes, yes, ma'am, and then she's like, bring me that bag above you, give it to me. And then he gave it to her, and then he forgot his jacket when we were getting off the plane, going down the gangplank or whatever. He goes, oh, my jacket. And he forgot.
Right?
He
I
forgot.
mean, how much do we want to embellish the story?
He walked down the gangplank and he was blindfolded.
Well, it was
There was
Burbank.
shock
It was
circling
Burbank. They didn't have the
underneath
terminal. They didn't have the terminal thing. It was just walking out. You just walk right out of the
Still not a
runway.
gangplank.
Whatever. The ramp, the off ramp, whatever you want to
steps.
freaking call it. The rolling
said-
staircase.
No, an old lady needed help with her luggage. I said, do you need help? And she said, yes, please. I can't get their attention. And I said, sir, excuse me, would you help the lady with her luggage, please? And he said, yes, ma'am. And he got down the luggage. That's what happened.
Just at a very loud volume on Claire's side,
No.
about 15
I'm
times
sure it was
louder
what
than
was
that.
necessary to
Well,
carve
I know, that's what I'm
through
saying.
The
The
noise
doors
and
were
distraction
open,
because
the-
she wasn't able to get his attention.
That's what I'm saying. The doors to the plane were open, and you could hear all the
somebody's
planes in the
saying
background.
It's a jetway.
That's right, a jetway. You could hear
Not
the
a
jets
gangplank.
landing, and anyway, and so that's how loud it was. It was loud enough
Okay.
to overpower the airplane.
All right, we're
noise.
done with this.
Perfect.
Andrew Humphrey, Claire, can't wait to start Davy's flight training.
See, that's why I just
Yes.
wanted to talk about this because it was just all airport related.
Andrew, he is on his way to you.
Can't
We
wait.
sent.
We should do. Remember when I did the bobblehead videos? I did them on like the escalator,
Yes,
like the baggage
and
handling.
the,
we should do
luggage.
one of those with the Space Davy, just like on a piece of twine or something, falling down the roof or something.
Zip lining. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you for that, Andrew.
Okay.
Here we go. We're on the final
Come on, buddy.
countdown
Yes.
Aaron Nixon, love you all. I watch constantly. Question: would it be in bad taste to buy a fake Captain Davy of the fake Space Navy, then roll it in catnip as a toy for my cat to attack? No.
here. No, Aaron.
Whatever
Not
you
only is
like.
it a good idea, I've done it twice. We have two cats, and they both have their own dipped Davy. We call them.
Dipped Davy.
We have a bucket of this thing called cat crack, and it's like a Costco sized thing of catnip, and I just took a bath. The Captain Space Davies took baths in that catnip, and the cats are like, they love them.
Yep.
It's good, solid.
Yep.
Lady Lubricant. Also, I love how the word WOG is meant to be derogatory. There's an Aussie movie called The WOG Boys. WOG is an acronym for Welcome Our Guests, used to welcome European immigrants in Australia. Gosh, I
It's
didn't
so
even know
funny.
that.
There's so many. I've heard so many definitions of this word that are completely different in different
yeah.
parts of the world, but they
Yep.
all sort of mean a similar kind of thing,
Yeah,
like a foreigner.
yeah.
So funny. Okay, here you go.
Maria, Mike, you look and sound absolutely fabulous. Saint Larry, patron saint of picnics for wasps, PIs, or OSAs. That's funny. Jeff Scott, you still have the bobbleheads, Mike Rinder? You can get the bobbleheads from the SP shop.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
We still
And
do
in
have
fact,
them.
There was a new printing or whatever
A
you
new
call it.
production. Yeah, we
New production.
sold out. We sold out, and because they were so popular, We ordered another batch, so we have a whole new batch in ready for Christmas. So in addition to the little Davy Space Navies, you can get a much more robust Rinder bobblehead.
Robust.
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 Aaron, I sent the pic by Gold Base Sign.
Yes, I
Nice.
have
Yes.
that. We will include that whenever we'll do a montage at some point.
Yeah, but we showed it.
Oh yeah, we did. That's
We
right.
showed
we
it like
did.
on one of the lives just
And
recently.
She
Aaron.
sent me a bunch more though that are really, really
Oh,
good.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Aaron. Aaron has been a trooper for many, many years. I mean, we're talking 5-6 years ago when she was going to the base at doing those golf, at least, right?
Yep.
Oh shit.
I think it might even have been before the Aftermath days.
Jack 66 Able. Are you guys able to talk about the court cases in UK and Australia in other chat show? I guess. I don't know which ones you're referring to.
In the other chat show?
In other like in a different show. Could we talk about that?
Yeah.
We can talk about whatever people want. You know, that's a good point. If there's things that you guys want us to talk about, just put it in the comments of the videos that we do. I know I read the comments on my channel. I don't know about Mike on his channel, but
I try to read them all.
I answer questions. I go in there. I kind of actually like it. It's kind of therapeutic for me. It kind of just gets my mind off of work and other stuff.
Yep. Kelly, what kind of Christmas songs would Captain Poopy Pants sing? I have ideas for his music career.
Yes, good to see you here, Kelly. My
my
answer to this
goodness.
is anything Grinch themed.
Yeah, anything Grinch themed. He's a South Pole elf, just so you guys know.
Yep, very definitely.
Touchstone. John Oliver did a Wes Shelley thing.
I know. He takes lots of jabs and he does little teeny things. He
Little
sprinkles
bits and pieces
He
everywhere.
just sprinkles it in, and he's done that for many of the seasons, even for a while. I think there was a Where's Shelley, wasn't there like a milk carton or Where's Shelley something in the title
backdrop.
sequence?
Yeah, and yes, there was Where's Shelley in the title sequence when all those little things are there.
The
But
icons.
also on the backdrop, there was the Scientology building.
Yeah, but he also had a volcano in there too. He's done a lot of things, but he needs. Come on, if he's hit a lot, all the things that he's done so far, Scientology's way overdue for their own treatment.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Telperion on Beckham. So Davey went full on Field of Dreams on him. Build it and he will come.
Yes.
Really
exactly.
Completely.
Well, you know, it worked the first time because all those luxury little apartments and everything that were built in the late 80s and 90s, that was all for Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Cruise stayed there.
Denise Moore, SI heard from Andrew Gold that Baby Davy will be in the UK this week at some point.
Nice.
Okay.
I'll find out from Andrew.
Dun, dun,
I'll
dun,
ask him
dun,
to send
dun,
pictures.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Wow. That's going to get so crazy. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine. You know, I got to say, I had doubts in the beginning, but Apostate Alex he's making some waves over there. And he's
making
also
some waves.
Apostate Alex, guys. This protest that he has organized at what's called the Saint Hill Manor in East Grinstead, Sussex, was covered in Newsweek, The Guardian. What was the other thing? It was some
Daily
other
Express.
CNN. I mean, it's insane.
Apostate Alex has been here in the chat tonight. I don't know if he's still here, but
anyway, shout out to
kinda late
Apostate
over there.
Alex. Keep it going. We'll see.
Yep. Oh yeah, there he is. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mrs. Rush, so sad. No justice due to expediency. That is the truth. That is actually, that could be the sign that is over the top of every courthouse in the United States. No justice due to expediency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's a crazy one. Look at this. Thank you for that, Mrs. T. Rush.
Mandy Me, Emily D. Baker was a judge's clerk on a COS case with jury tampering in the early 2000s. She is awesome. She also covered Leah's suit. Great.
I did not know that. That's
I didn't
very
either.
cool.
Yep.
M-Tone PA. When you were in, what was your beliefs about the space cooties, Xenus, and other unbelievable things? Did you roll your eyes and pretend, or believed? Why stick around so long after hearing these things? Oh my God, this is an entire episode to respond to this.
It is. We did actually we did answer this exact question in a good amount of detail in either the very last video we did or the one before that. So if you go to my channel, just listen to, if you listen to the last 2 lives, we actually kind of went into this a little bit. And, but this is a long answer, but
the short answer is it's the most elaborate case of the Emperor's New Clothes. Our entire lives were very deep and involved in that world. And here we are now talking about it. So there you go.
Right.
Yep. These are super stickers.
Nice.
Miss Zamba Sunshine, thank you. Pat Stone, 99, thank you.
And then Bo Beats has a bobblehead that
Mike's head fell off again.
So Bo Beats, just email Claire and we'll get you another one. We have, I want to say we've made like a few thousand of these things. There's about 3 or 4 that I've heard of that if you're rough with him, he's like the Highlander and just loses his head. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. But there can be only one, and it ain't going to be yours, Bo Beats. You have to get a new one. But we'll do that. That was the last one.
It was?
Yep.
We're done?
Nice. Yay.
We're all done.
We did it, guys. We did it. We didn't go 2 hours, but we went over an hour. So, it is what it is. You guys got a little bonus. We did spend about a half an hour answering questions. And then we had to tell the story about Claire yelling on the airplane, and that took a few minutes. And, we had
to tell that story.
We had to. I've been waiting all day to tell that story. And Claire, I told Claire, I'm going to tell everybody about that. You yelled at the guy on the airplane. Maybe you won't do that again.
Okay. Thank you for helping the old lady, Claire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she got.
She appreciated it, even if
Mark
other people didn't.
Even if me and the other guy were like, "Gosh, I know." I was like, "I know, right?" So
like, wow, because I'm so big, bad, and scary that I made him forget his jacket.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Or him.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, guys. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please give us a good review. In YouTube world, they want you to like and they want you to subscribe and hit the bell notification. In the podcast world, they want a good review of the podcast. The better reviewed the podcast is, the more likely that other people listening are going to go and look at the review of that.
You even put these ones that have a bunch of questions and stuff on your podcast channel.
Sometimes I do. Yeah, sometimes I do. I don't always, but for some reason, we've kind of found out that people like our series on the podcast. So like where's Shelley Miscavige, or the Spy Files, or Mark and Mitch make a movie, those
Scientology stories. Yeah,
Scientology stories. So I don't always do the lives unless they kind of go along the Spy Files, or they go along one of those themes. Then sometimes we'll turn it into a Scientology stories episode, and it'll go up on the podcast.
Okay. Well, I was browsing through some of these analytics earlier today and was like, how is it that about half the people that tune in are not subscribed?
Well,
I don't get that.
That's from YouTube recommendations, and that's why we follow the YouTube guidelines so that they continue pushing the content out.
Yeah, so a lot of the people that are watching our content on YouTube do not normally watch our content, and it gets fed to them in their recommended feed. And also, there are a large percentage of our viewers that are Scientologists, or they're afraid of Scientology, and they think somehow by subscribing, Scientology will find out. And so if you don't want to be messed with by Scientology, you don't want to get on their list. And if you're in Scientology and you don't want them to know that you're watching, then you don't want to get on that list. So, but it does help us if you subscribe. It does get this word out to more people, and it does help us to reach more and more Scientologists, oddly enough, because Scientology does not produce any valuable, worthwhile content for non-Scientologists or Scientologists to consume about Scientology And we do. And a lot of the Scientologists watching this, they're finding out a million times more about Scientology than they are from actually Scientology. So if you do like and subscribe and do that stuff, there isn't really a way for OSA to know who you are if you have a purple groovy 69 as your screen name. But if your screen name is Cassie Isaac, well then, yeah, they're going to maybe.
And you are Cassie Isaac.
And you are Cassie Isaac. They might know how to find you or track you down based on your viewing habits and stuff like that. So yeah, One Love 51,000, you're probably going to be fine subscribing. Pamela C. Atwater, maybe not, So, but we do appreciate you guys. And if you do want to go to the podcast, it's just Blown for Good Scientology Exposed, and you can get it on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have I want to say we might have 60 or 70 episodes up there of different things. And sometimes we put things out early on the podcast and early on X before it posts to YouTube. So there you go.
There you go. Well, I'm using my technical genius, Christy, to now figure out how to put my stuff on the podcast too. Because I keep getting emails from people saying, "Oh, I'd love it if you could make this into a podcast."
Totally.
Because I listen to it when I'm jogging, or I listen to it in my car, or whatever.
Yes,
we have a lot of truck drivers that love the Spy Files because
or commuters,
listen on long haul stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway,
awesome.
Our stuff will be coming. I'm going to call my podcast Exposing Scientology.
Oh, okay. I'm almost exactly certain that's what ours is called.
It is?
Yes.
I thought yours was called Blown for Good.
Oh, Blown for Good Scientology Exposed. That's the name of my channel. That's the name of my YouTube channel. That's the name of the podcast. As
Exposing Scientology.
I know. I know. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not. What are we competing? We're both doing the same episodes on both channels.
The more the merrier.
If we're competing, we're really bad at it because we're sharing everything we do. And actually, I got to tell you, Mike, the videos that we do live with you get more video, even though we're both, it's on both of our channels. Those videos tend to get more views than my other videos that I don't do with you and I don't share with your channel. So, we appreciate
send me a check.
Yeah, we appreciate. Listen to this. Listen to this. I got this one yelling.
I want my checks along with my big pharma.
I got this one wants checks, and this one wants to yell at people on the airplane, and I'm stuck in the middle. I got nothing. I got nowhere to go. Anyway, yes.
Mark loves a good story.
I know, right? It's so much fun. It was so funny though, Mike, because when you were talking about that age 3 thing, I was like, yeah, that's to the point where it's gonna get to that point pretty soon because there's so much like self-destruction happening in Scientology that it's going to be like, what's happening, Mike? Like, I don't know, man. I ain't heard nothing. It's like everybody left. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. Would you go anywhere cool last week? It's going to get to the point where there's not going to be that much, but it's going to be a lot up until then.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, thanks guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for joining us as always, and we will be back. I don't know when something else happens.
Yep.
We got more Spy Files coming on the Blown for Good channel and more Scientology stories coming up.
All righty. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye guys.